Oh my god, this isn't fantasy news, what's happening? Guys, I'm sorry, you're gonna get to your regularly scheduled fantasy news in about 2 minutes, but just as I was getting all tucked into bed tonight, turns out Brandon Sanderson decided to go live and dump out a metric ton of Cosmere news. And I didn't want to add an insert that's like a few minutes of me on the phone just talking about this, but I also am way too tired to get all the get up on. So we're meeting halfway. We're right in the middle here. And what I need to do is go over a lot of Cosmere news. If you want to go ahead and skip this, timestamp right there. But without any further ado, let's talk about what Brandon Sanderson announced for Stormlight Archive, Mistborn screenplay, and I think there was something else as well. We'll jump into it. First and most important is that yes, the Way of Kings Leatherbound 10-year anniversary has been announced. It looks like this. Sorry for the image quality, it's the best I could nab, as well as this screenshot of the highest possible tier rewards for this Kickstarter. Now note, that is a high price tag, but it's the highest possible tier, so it makes sense. You're getting a ton of stuff with this, and as well with Kickstarter, you usually pay a premium. So there will be other tiers as well. Specifically during the live stream, they were talking about how they might be tweaking them a little bit here and there, so we don't have all the detailed tiers yet. Not true, I actually just skimmed through the live stream and pulled out every tier they have so far, but please keep in mind they specifically said all of this is adjustable, and they might be changing some things as well. But getting into it, at the $10 level, you get a digital art pack and a new Stormlight novella ebook. At the $50 tier, which is the second one, you get one physical mini hardcover and an ebook of the new Stormlight Archive novella. You get a Bridge 4 poster, digital art pack, etc., etc. And then at the $200 tier, you get one signed physical copy of a 2-volume Way of Kings Leatherbound. They look like this, they're very beautiful. One physical Bridge 4 poster, the digital art pack. You get a patch, a pin, a print, a coin from the things as well, because they're doing a bunch of other like swag that goes along with it. One physical copy of all other unlocked stretch goals. And then we have the $500 tier, which is a signed and numbered, which means it's like part of the limited run. There's only 950 of these, of the 2-volume Way of King Leatherbound. You get a physical copy of the Way of Kings Prime, not exactly sure what that means. One physical mini hardcover and ebook of the new Stormlight novella, the Bridge 4 poster, and the digital art pack, and 10 of all of the other swags that they go along, as well as it says one physical copy of all other unlocked stretch goal awards. So there you go for the July release of this Kickstarter campaign to go live. I'm on the wait list and plan on trying to grab a copy, of course, as soon as it goes live. Don't beat me to it. No, I want one. Stop. But we also had this quote from Brandon Sanderson about the transition from book 5 to 6 of the Stormlight Archive, which I found to be quite interesting and worth note. Specifically, he said they are less intertwined than Mistborn 2 and 3, maybe equivalently intertwined as Mistborn is to Mistborn 2 and 3. Maybe even a little less than that. You will want to view them as one big series of books. We will come to an ending. I have never done anything quite like this. Less final than Mistborn 3. Kind of unraveling that, Brandon Sanderson saying essentially because we know Stormlight Archive is going to be 2 separate arcs of a series, he's saying that the first half is less connected than Mistborn 1 is to Mistborn 2 and 3. For those of you unaware, the first Mistborn book kind of has its own arc, and then the next 2 go off from there, and we're gonna see that apparently be less intertwined than what the upcoming Stormlight releases. And then on top of that, he did say, I think you could start with book 6 and it wouldn't feel strange. Harder to stop with book 5. Take that as you will. I was desperately typing down these notes as he was saying them, trying to keep track, so it's the best I could bring you here. But moving into the Mistborn screenplay news that dropped as well. Apparently Hammond Docs are going to be female in this adaptation that Brandon himself is writing for Mistborn to come to whatever screen he decides it needs to go to. Could be the small, could be the big, could be animated, could be live. We don't know yet, but that's pretty big news. And I love that it's the author himself doing it, so no one can get mad because it's him deciding this is the right choice. So please, no, these people are insane who get mad about this stuff, so they're still going to get mad. But yes, Brandon Sanderson seems to be making some pretty drastic changes for Mistborn adaptation as well. And now, I think I covered everything I could get notes for because I jumped in late to the stream here and tried my best. Back to fantasy news, or starting fantasy news right now. Welcome to another episode of Fantasy News. I'm your disheveled goblin host, Daniel Greene, and today we have some hard-hitting, depressing, sad, awesome, extravagant fantasy news. So let's go ahead and jump right on into it with a story quite a few of you are probably just here for now, and that is that the Wheel of Time TV show being produced by Amazon is apparently going to be resuming filming in July. Late July, early August, and this is according to some casting calls that have been put out for extras in Prague. So if you'd like to sign up to possibly be in this show and you happen to live in Prague, link in the description down below for the article covering this, and of course every other story we're going to mention here today. So this also does prove me right when I said it wasn't the Wheel of Time resumed filming when the actor who played Tom put a thing on his Instagram. So haha, I'm right. But I'm obviously very, very excited for this, and the current predictions of a 2021 release are looking quite doable once again. Man, I'm excited. But let's go ahead and jump into the next piece of news here, and that is that Christopher Paolini has had a bit of an update, a smidgen of an update for his forthcoming release to Sleep in a Sea of Stars, which I keep wanting to call A Girl in a Sea of Stars because I just read Girl and the Stars, and it's good God. But the update is that it will actually be a part of a larger series called Fractalverse. Yes, a sci-fi name if I've ever heard one. So that means we're not going to be getting one sci-fi book from Christopher Paolini, the author of The Inheritance Cycle, but we're looking to get many. And to Ultra Instinct Caleb, who commented, "Boo, go back to Inheritance Cycle." No. For the love of God, let authors art and leave them alone. And in additional Christopher Paolini news, we also had him casually dropping a bomb on Twitter saying that the next Inheritance Cycle entry will be from Murtag's perspective, which has Inheritance Cycle fans excited, and he really did just like casually make this reply to someone. So that's rather cool. I love it when authors just do like something like that, just like, oh, you just casually mentioned me in a thread? Well, guess what? Bombshell! That's pretty cool. I'm excited. Neat. Love it. Inheritance Cycle news. But moving on to the next story, we have an update for Brandon Sanderson's upcoming thought of but not written by other people graphic novel Dark One. And this is an interview with the writers behind it who are talking about what it was like bringing Brandon Sanderson's vision to life. So if you're a big old fan of the author, I recommend you check out this interview because it was pretty interesting and kind of eye-opening. I'm definitely now more excited for Brandon Sanderson's forthcoming thought of conceptualized graphic novel Dark One, which I just feel I need to put the reminder out there. This is no relation to The Wheel of Time because it's Dark One and Brandon. A lot of people are still floating that around there. It's not. And for those of you who are fans of Stephen and or Owen King, we are also getting a co-written story between the two that looks pretty interesting called Sleeping Beauties. The concept behind this appears to be, what if? How would it be? Could it occur that if fairy tales came to life, would they actually be terrifying? And after looking into it and thinking about it for a minute, I mean, it's Stephen King, so probably, yeah, he's gonna take it in that direction and probably do a damn good job. The art is pretty standard. I'm not totally blown away by it, but I do like it. And honestly, just something by Stephen King I'm gonna end up getting and I'm gonna review. And if you're looking for a review of If It Bleeds here on the channel, that'll be coming soon as well. Hey, sorry. Another cut-in that I missed when I was actually recording. We also had Victoria Schwab releasing an excerpt of her reading from The Invisible Life of Addie LaRue, and it was quite nice to see. Got me more excited for the upcoming release. How are you doing? You doing okay? I hope so. Yeah. It's I think it's Thursday when you're watching this, so I hope you're having a good end to your week. And in the final piece of hardcore fantasy news today, before we jump into some video game news that I got feelings on, it seems that Ray Bradbury's The Halloween Tree is going to be adapted over at Warner Brothers. It's a masterpiece work from a masterpiece author, so I'm down. I'm here. But before we get into the video game news, I want to throw it over to Greene Daniel to see how he's holding up in the new place. How's it going, Greene Daniel?
Are you ever going to let me back in?
Awesome. Cyberpunk 2077 has been delayed again. Not by like a year, only until November. For those of you unaware, it was scheduled to be released in September. And the company is apologetic about this. They seem to be very like, look, I'm sorry, but yes, we need to delay it once again. I'm gonna admit, like, I'm usually very forgiving about delays. Even me, though, for this one, with how much it's been delayed, I kind of had a moment. But in their letter, they made some promises that actually gave me quite a bit of hope that this will be the final delay, and this is well due and just them going through some final cleanup, because they say in this letter, essentially, the game's done. Cutscenes, gameplay, missions, everything is done. The game's ready to go. This time is just for bug killing because they don't want to release a game that's filled with bugs and imbalanced guns. And so they're just going through, they're equalizing, they're making the difficulties just right, and they're just having those final tweaks. So if they're saying it's done, if it's done and they're just tweaking and they need this time to fine tune, all right, totally get that. And in addition to that, and a piece of news that actually gave me a little bit more faith here as well, apparently it's already in the hands of some members of the press who will be putting out their thoughts fairly soon as well. So, okay, I believe them. And I'm forgiving when companies delay a game rather than put out something that's not finished. There are limits to that, but I have a lot of faith and love for CD Projekt Red, and this one in particular, I'm just like, okay, cool. But if there's one more, I'm still going to buy it and play it, but I'll do it a little bit more resentfully. Green Daniel here, I got inside. We also had Sony release an update for the Spider-Man Miles Morales game that's to be released because IGN screwed up the coverage of it so bad and caused so many misconceptions that Sony had to be like, no, it's a full standalone game. It takes place a year after the original one, and that's what it's going to be. So, just let me vet IGN before you believe IGN stories. How about that now? But let's go ahead and get the trailer news out of the way. We had a trailer drop for the upcoming Cursed, which is a retelling of the Arthurian tale through the lens of Nimue, or a female character who will apparently be taking on a greater role in this Arthurian retelling. Highly, highly stylized trailer. It's a Netflix original. Kind of has a little bit of The Witcher look to it. A lot of slow-mo stuff. That's not Witcher, but it has that lensing, and then there's like a lot of Zack Snyder influences almost, it looks like. I don't know. This is interesting looking, and I'll probably give it a watch because it's a fantasy thing, and I like Arthurian legends, so yeah, let's give it a go. And in the last trailer we're going to cover here today, we had a trailer drop for Doom Patrol Season 2, but let's go ahead and switch in some interesting Spotify DC news. Apparently, scripted podcasts that are superhero related will be released exclusively through Spotify. This is part of Spotify's aggressive trying to corner the podcasting market thing. For those of you unaware, they recently did something similar with Joe Rogan. So, all right, I mean, cool. I just didn't know scripted podcasts were a popular enough thing for them to really be interested in this with DC, but I'm not against it. Probably going to give it a looky-loo at least once, maybe? Yeah, just give it a once-y looky-loo. That's what I'll do for this one. And in the final piece of superhero or video game news we're going to be covering in this episode of Fantasy News, we got another screenshot for the Avengers video game, which has been memed on and talked about online quite a bit, and this is the new look of it after upgrades. Come here, Marvel, just come here. I'm not gonna hit you. I'm not gonna hit you. Just come. If you're gonna have like a triumphant, here is our Avengers video game release, and we already know like Marvel games and the quality of Spider-Man are possible. Granted, that was under the helm of Sony, but still, this is not acceptable. This looks like some PS3 bull. And in a story I couldn't put in the title because it only affects certain members of this community and I didn't want to get people's false hope, it looks like we'll be getting a 4K re-release of Empire Strikes Back in theaters as a part of the reopening effort to help theaters make sales exclusively in the UK. So I'm sorry, Americans who would love to have the theater experience of seeing Star Wars in 4K. This will be happening only in the UK.
What? How can you do this? This is outrageous. It's unfair.
But congratulations to you guys. Let me know how it is. I bet it's beautiful. Granted, on Disney Plus, we have all these in, super high quality and all that. come on. I want the theater. I've never gotten a Star Wars theater experience. I was very little when the prequels came out, like 6, 7, and I don't think my parents took me. I don't remember. It was a long time ago. So, give these to me, please. Oh my god, I just entirely forgot about the new Star Wars series. Yeah, I've had a Star Wars theater experience, but moving on. Oh, and we got a sneak peek into Zack Snyder's Justice League. It looked pretty, it got Wonder Woman, got a Darkseid looking thing. That's the sneak peek we get so far. But in the final piece of fantasy news we're going to be covering here today, we got the, okay, so there's going to be an animated Star Trek show that apparently is a comedy. And it's going to be following like the people who like work behind the scenes to make a Star Trek ship run. It's going to have characters apparently from Next Generation in it. Okay, I'm fine with it. I'm okay. It's all right. This is the legacy of Star Trek now, and I hope people enjoy it. I hope it's a really good, fun time. And you know what? As long as it's not a blatant, like, watered-down attempt to rip off Rick and Morty, I'll be happy with this show. That's all that I ask for. Just don't make it like a clear cash grab at a Rick and Morty-style space adventure sci-fi show. Give it its own unique, interesting flair, and make that come from the fact that it is connected to Star Trek. As long as they do that, I'm very happy with this, and I'm A-okay with it. I'm good. They have said this is far more PG-13 rated than R, yet it does have a former writer with Rick and Morty involved with this show. But, you know, writers can have different styles. I'm not saying it's going to be a Rick and Morty ripoff because of that. But hey, I'll definitely give this one a go and shot. I just never in my life thought I'd see a day where an animated comedy Star Trek show would be coming out. But cool. Let's turn this next chapter. I'm down. Like and subscribe if you have not already. Hit the Patreon if you want to support what I do here. If you want to contribute to the fantasy news discussion, go ahead and join that Discord server and post fantasy news stories you'd like to see me cover in that channel. And have a good one, y'all. Peace.